My internet. Oh, there we go. Welcome back, everybody, to another rousing rendition of Maniacal Music Musings. I'm your host, Jeremy, as always, and we're here to get it on as if 6 was 9. I've been pushing hard for this episode to happen, and it's a good feeling to see it finally come to fruition. So fly along on my little wing tonight as I do the happy shuffle. What can I say? Dancing's just all right tonight. My co-host, though, is here to show off his Spanish castle magic taught to him by his little miss lover. She's his now forever after, and he wants to shout it out that she's so fine. He tells her every day, you got me floating until I'm crying the tears of a clown. He calls me and says, I don't think it's me anymore. She wants to get it on, but I can't handle more love in this bodacious body of mine. The music god CJ motherfucking Plain, everybody.
What's up, guys?
Bodacious body and all. But, and of course, folks, I wasn't kidding when I said I was pushing for this episode because, well, we got a star on tonight. And our guest tonight is the lovely Clementine Moss, drummer of Zepparella. You all may recognize that name. As well as she is a author as well, and much, much more. But we'll let her talk about all that in a minute. How you doing tonight, Clementine?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jeremy and CJ. This is going to be a lot of fun.
We try. But so tell us, what made you want to be a drummer? Which I actually was a drummer myself in elementary school, middle school, but I didn't last long after that.
Really? Oh, that's awesome. I love talking to people who know the drums at least a little bit. Let's see. I didn't start playing drums until I was in my 20s, so I didn't get that good elementary school, junior high school education. Yeah, I started playing in my 20s, and I've been playing ever since. And Zepparella, I've been in several bands, and Zepparella is the longest one that I've been in. We've been around for 20 years. I started that 20 years ago. We play Led Zeppelin's music, and we play all over the country and Canada. And the drums, just when I took a drum lesson kind of on a fluke, and they just kind of caught me up. And I realized that some of the music that I grew up listening to, like Led Zeppelin, a big reason I loved that music was because of the drums. So it was kind of neat to learn drums later than most people do, just because I understood, kind of why I play the way I do and what my influences were in a really big way. Just looking back, I could look back at music before I was a musician and how I used to listen to it. And then once I became a musician, it's like suddenly music became even more alive to me. So it was really neat.
Yeah, I will say, if you're gonna honor any drummer in the world, John Bonham is one hell of a good choice. I mean, right?
It's a good education, that's for sure. Yeah.
The drums on the beginning of rock and roll are just every time I hear those, I'm air drumming along with them. Like, it's just
I know,
so good.
Yeah.
And as I was telling you before we went live, I, with other guests, CJ did not join, just finished a 7-part Led Zeppelin bracket a few months ago, and I am very versed in Led Zeppelin right now. So the fact that you're Zepparella, I told you, I went and checked out the videos. I was like, oh my god, Zepparella is freaking amazing. I'm like, especially the drum and the guitar really is what got my attention. Zepparella. I mean, the singer's amazing too, but the drum and guitar are really right on key. And I'm like, ooh, that's so good.
Thank you.
I mean, if you want to do some Tommy Lee rolling in the cage, that might make it awesome as well. But I'm not going to push my luck on that one. You couldn't pay me to do that one, but.
I was going to say, why would you want to ruin a good thing by imitating a complete tool bag?
He is a legend in the drum world.
He is a tool bag. Nikki's the same way. Like Nicky is such a tool bag. He should have like the freaking Makita logo on his forehead. At this point, like just tattoo like Milwaukee or Makita or something across Nicky's forehead because the guys on there. Oh well, rock stars in their 50s that are still trying to be 25 or look like douchebags. Says the guy still wearing makeup in fucking spandex at 65 years old, acting like he's 23. Like, really, Nicky? You're going to call... okay, yeah, let's move on. Like, Crew in and of itself is a complete joke now, dude. Like,
see, folks, when your co-host says, "Oh, I have pneumonia, I'm not gonna do much talking," I can just bring up Crew and you get him talking.
I'm sorry. I love Nick. I really do, and I love the '91 record with Karabi. I like Crew's music, but as people, they're just terrible human beings, and they don't make it any better by doing what they do and opening their mouth. Like Tommy and Nicky both are just they're like Sebastian Bach. They need to just what did Frank Zappa say? Shut up and play your guitar. Like that's what they need to do. Shut up and play your guitar.
Hey, Sebastian Bach was amazing on Trailer Park Boys, but I'll give him that. But well, as always, we asked our guests to bring an album that means something to them, and Clementine didn't disappoint with this one. So, Clementine, what album did you want to bring in? Why did you want to bring that one?
So I brought in Jimi Hendrix, Axis Bold as Love, the Experience's second album. And this is my very, very favorite Jimi Hendrix album, and it might be in my top 5 favorite albums of all time. And a big reason that I love this album so much is because of the lyrics. I'm someone who really I know Jimi Hendrix didn't really care for his voice, but I'm somebody who just I don't know, I love his voice and I love what he writes about. And when I first heard this record, it just really hit me in a particular way, as far as just the way that I saw the world and the way that I was kind of living my life. And I love this record because it reminds me of, like, I don't know, just the core of kind of some of my beliefs about life. And that's why I brought it in, because I haven't heard it in a long time, and I thought I would revisit it. Yeah.
Well, before I'm gonna let CJ go first in a second, but gotta say you are the first person to bring a Hendrix album onto the show. So first Hendrix album we've ever featured on the show, which in 100 plus episodes, that's hard to believe, but you'd be surprised how many times someone brings an artist and I'm like, oh yeah, no one's touched on them yet. Like, it's just there's so many out there. But I'll let CJ give his review of the album first, because I saw something on Facebook yesterday that made me want to make him go first.
You're just gonna call me out, right?
Oh, gotcha. Well, no, because we've been through this before. Sometimes you post things after listening to the song or two, and then you change your mind. So
Hendrix is one of the people that I get who he is. I respect the legacy. It's weird for me, okay? Like, my 2 favorite guitar players are both Hendrix devotees. But I don't get Hendrix. Hendrix is one of them people I have never really connected to. I listen to his stuff and I'm just kind of like, I don't enjoy it. Like, yeah. I hear Hendrix cover songs and I always like them better than Hendrix's versions.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And it's weird to me because Gary Moore and Stevie Ray Vaughan are my 2 favorite guitar players. And they're both Hendrix devotees, basically. So, you know, it's I don't understand what it is, but I don't dislike Jimmy. It's just one of them people that I'm kind of indifferent to. Like, I don't get the hype all the time. Now he has songs that, and there's a few on this record, that when he's in the zone, great. You know, he's very good at what he does. But then there's other stuff that's just kind of like,
Do you think it's this? Is it the sound? Like, is it the sound of the record that throws you off?
I don't know what it is. It's some of it. So one of the things is like the opening of this record, for example, that instrumental feedback thing. It just immediately is just like, and it made me immediately think, okay, this is exactly why I hate and detest Sonic Youth. Because Sonic Youth do the same thing. That freaking, you know, and then try to sing over the guitar feedback. And it's just like, don't do that. That's terrible. You know? So when Hendrix does that, no. But on songs like If 6 Were 9, when he's sort of in that middle space and he's just kind of esoteric, then he's very, very good at what he does. But it's kind of one or the other with him for me. Like there's, you know, Hendrix is sort of one of them people I'm either going to really love the song or really hate the song. There's very little Hendrix that I'm going to be like, yeah, that's okay. It's either
that says something, definitely.
Yeah, it's either going to be like, all right, that's a cool song. Purple Haze, great song. You know, other songs, never want to hear that again. You know, but I've heard very good covers. Winger's cover of Purple Haze is great. Gary Moore's got an entire record of Hendrix covers that he just blows out of the water. Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, recreated Little Wing and made it massively popular. Jeff Healey did a couple. So, you know, I respect the legacy. Obviously, like Eddie Van Halen, there's a ton of guitar players and music that never exists without Hendrix. So, you know, please don't take what I'm saying as being disrespectful. I'm not. Just kind of, he's kind of up there with the Stones. The Stones are another one that I get it. 60 years, they've done incredible things. I just don't get the hype. It's the Stones. Okay, cool, awesome. I don't really want to listen to it. It's like, you know, there's nothing.
That's kind of the amazing thing about music, isn't it? Is like at some point it just comes down to taste. You know, like what do we like? What moves us? You know, what do we feel in our bones?
And I know there's bands that I love that people hate. You know, that's fine. You know, I'm a massive fan of Youngblood. I wanted to hate the fucking kid so much, and you just can't. And I brought it on, and Jeremy pretty much hated it, and I get it. You know, I wanted to feel the same way, but it's really hard to hate the kid, man, because in an age where there's no real rock stars, he is rising to the occasion like nobody else, man. Like, you know, between the Ozzy thing and the Aerosmith thing and just being himself, you know, I mean, he is in that David Bowie, Joe Strummer, Freddie space of just being charismatic beyond, you know, what is normal. So, but yeah, that's my take on it. You know, I got a few songs that are very, very good off this, but most of it was just kind of there.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely indifferent from CJ on this one. I mean, I never dug deep into Hendrix before. This actually honestly could be the first full album of his I ever listened to. I know his hits. I mean, All Along the Watchtower, his version of it is one of my favorite songs. Like, I fucking love that song. Purple Haze is classic.
Hey Joe is a really great song. I love Hey Joe.
But I mean, And yeah, he's a fucking legend. And I mean, unlike CJ, the intro on this album fucking made me excited to hear the rest of the album because I'm like, because I'm a paranormal podcaster. He's talking about UFOs coming down and arriving. I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, this is my shit. But it's, I mean, the whole album, as a whole, there were songs I was just like, I could never hear this one again. I'm good with that. And there are ones I never heard before that I heard, and I'm like, oh, this is different. I'm like, this is something I never experienced, and I'm happy I finally got to experience it. So I mean, it with Hendrix, it's a mixed bag to me. It's really a mixed bag. I mean, I agree. I agree with the Rolling Stones thing too. Rolling Stones, fuck them. I have no love for the Rolling Stones. They got a few good songs, but
I respect the Stones. They
don't excite. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't get the hype. I don't get the hype. I mean, with
the Devil, amazing song. The rest of their music is just kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, I could say your name Rolling Stones songs I like all day, but it's not. I mean, Hendrix though, I get the hype. I really do. He was ahead of his time by far, and man, there are theories out there that he had some contact with other worldly beings, and that he learned a thing or two. There's conspiracy theories out there. I'm not gonna lie, but
I love the Morgan Freeman is Jimi Hendrix conspiracy theory. That's like such a great.
I can't say I've ever heard that one, but that I would need.
You've never heard that one? It is this whole timeline about how, like, when Jimmy died, Morgan showed up, and they do like the whole facial comparisons and the voice comparisons.
I mean,
I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just saying, like, the guy really tries to make a convincing case that Hendrix faked his death to become Morgan Freeman, and it's just like,
I mean,
it ranks up there with the Bob Joyce's Elvis one, dude.
See, the Bob Joyce's Elvis one, I can kind of see more of that being real than this one, but conspiracy theories are a dime a dozen. Everybody has their own, and some of them make sense more than others. But yeah, I mean, as far as this album goes, I enjoy listening to it. Would I ever go back to this album and listen to the whole thing again? I probably not, but I rarely listen to anything. I rarely listen to any full album ever again because there's too much music. I discovered 2 new musicians today I never knew existed. So there's always more music, and not even on this show. Like just other bands I listen to after I got done with the homework for this show. Like so, there's always I have a huge list of artists to go through that I want to listen to for a while, and it's just never ending. So, but. Yeah. Hendrix, I'm happy he finally got brought on, and I'm happy that we got to pay him respect finally. And I do got a Hendrix bracket if someone ever picks it when it's their turn. So, someday maybe. But here's the fun part, though. What are your top 5 songs off of Hendrix's album?
I don't know that I can pick. I mean, I love the whole album, beginning to end, and it's really hard for me to pick my favorites.
Well, I mean. On this show we call that pulling a Jeremy, but because I've done that, I've done that. But
there's no song on here that doesn't like move me. I love every song on this album. The intro, I always skip over that anyway because I'm not a guitar player and I don't really care about that one. But everything else is. I don't know. It's just it moves me in different ways. I love the lyrics. I really love lyrics. Lyrics are important to me, and these lyrics they're simple, but they kind of catch me in a particular way. So that's why I love them.
Lyrics don't have to be complex. Lyrics don't have to be complex. That's the great thing about them. But
I know.
I mean, Elvis has some fucking great lyrics, and his lyrics are simple as shit. I could write his lyrics, but they're amazing because he wrote them before anybody else did. But CJ, what were your top songs? I'm not even going to say 5. I doubt you had them.
I have 3. I have If 6 Was 9 is one. Little Wing, obviously, because it was a great Hendrix song, but Stevie Ray Vaughan made it iconic, essentially. And then One Rainy Night is a really cool song because it starts out in that sort of mellow mode, or that sort of mellowish tone, but then he kind of kicks it up about halfway through and, starts getting into it. And it really demonstrates like like she said, like Jimmy didn't like his voice.
Mhm.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, very much the same. Stevie didn't like his voice. Um, they were both, you know, good singers that could more than carry their music.
Mhm. Yeah.
But that song, "One Raining Wish," really shows that Hendrix had more range than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
You know, because when you hear Hendrix, you're used to that one tone, but in this
Right.
song, he really adds emphasis and the power from his middle section from your diaphragm. I guess it's the proper way to say. But he uses his chest voice instead of his head voice in that song, and it shows that had he lived longer, he would have developed into a pretty decent, singer in as well as a guitar player that probably could have done a lot more than just what he did. He could have easily moved into blues and jazz and other stuff. So
Which, yeah. So I got a top 5 for this. I got an honorable mention as well. Little Wing was my honorable mention. I don't think I actually ever heard that song in full. It's a good song. I'm not sure I ever heard the whole song though. I don't look at me like that.
one of his most popular songs.
It doesn't mean I know it, dude. I'm famous for not knowing pop culture. For fuck's sake, I avoid pop culture with a fucking 5-foot pole. For God's sake,
It's like Jesus Christ, dude. It's the song Hogan and NWO used as their entrance.
bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, essentially, it's sort of a low budget.
Okay. I have to go
Hogan
back to
comes
the
out
song.
and it has that whole dan 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 dan. That's just it's
Oh
Little
no,
Wing, dude.
I don't know that NWO theme. That's why I know the other one they use for most of their time. But
Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about that one. The one Hogan used as the solo
uh, no,
one. About me, he always did this shit. It's just Little Wing, basically. It's
I
like the low budget version of
yeah, okay.
it.
Hogan. I didn't watch WCW, and the only Hogan theme song I know is Real American, and that ain't this song. But my number 5 was If 6 Was 9, because I've heard that song before, and it's fucking amazing always, and it's dirty. So yeah. Number 4 was You Got Me Floating, which I don't think I ever knew that song existed, but it's kind of like, to me, that's like a post-coital bliss song. Like, so I'm like fucking down for it. Uh, Number 3 was Little Miss Lover. That's a fun fucking song, and I can't believe I never heard that before. Like that's one of his like underrated tracks, I think. Number 2, I knew this one, but it's fucking incredible. Every time you hear it, it's Spanish Castle Magic. Everybody knows that song. It's fucking incredible. And my number 1 was a surprise. I thought Spanish Castle Magic would be my number 1, but this one kind of pushed it down. I was like, shit. And that's She's So Fine. I don't think I ever heard that one either. Like, and that's such a good song. Like I'm like, fuck, that could have been my wedding song. God damn it. Things you learn later in life. But well, but yeah, Hendrix was it was a fun way to start my day listening to Hendrix. I mean, definitely was baked, so it works. My avocado toast from Dunks and my freaking bean baked worked well with it. But CJ, what album did you want to bring this week?
I wanted to be controversial. And once you told me who the guest was, I was like, okay, this is the obvious choice because this was a record that was sort of universally slammed. And I understand why. But, a German band called Kingdom Come. Or if you were around during that time, they were known as Kingdom Clone. A band that I never really paid attention to in the beginning because of all the comparisons. But when we went to see Monsters of Rock in '87, the tour, they were the opening band, along with it was them, Dokken, Scorpions, Metallica and Van Halen, and I expected to hate them, and they were really fucking amazing live. Um, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll go home and actually listen to the record and check them out. And I ended up actually really liking them. Um, and they, even with all the adversity, they stuck around for 25 years in various forums. Lenny, kept pushing through it. So I thought, hey, what better for a drummer of a Zeppelinish band than the band that essentially was accused of completely ripping off Led Zeppelin? So, yeah, the Kingdom Come is the record that I brought, or whatever.
And I have opinions, but I'll wait for that. Clementine, what did you think of Kingdom Come?
Well, I had never heard of Kingdom Come. I I read about them before I listened to the album. Like, what is this music? What is this band? And I saw that they were compared to Led Zeppelin, and I was like, okay. I mean, I've heard bands that sound like Led Zeppelin. Bad Company sounded like Led Zeppelin. Like in the way that they recorded, right? Like the drums. They're really trying to get that sound and stuff. So, and I listened to the first two songs and I was like, what are they talking about? This doesn't sound like anything like Led Zeppelin. It sounds more like AC/DC to me. It sounds, it's like as far as the recording goes, and the drums don't sound, they're not Zeppelin-y at all. And then I listened to the ballad, I think the third one, which was What Love Can Be. And I was like, oh, this is why they're saying that, because they've got some of that like tinkly ballad stuff, like What Is and What Should Never Be, or the Rain Song kind
It
of
was the singing that
sound. What?
everybody accused. Like it was the singing.
Oh,
Like everybody
The
accused
singing.
Lenny of ripping off.
I could hear it in that ballad. I couldn't really
yeah.
hear it in the rock songs. It didn't sound like that to me. Yeah, in the ballad, I was like, oh, that's where it does, like, I can tell he's doing some like kind of planty kind of like inflections and stuff like that. But overall, I felt like they probably got a bum rap in that, in that comparison, because I thought like, oh yeah, I bet they were a really good live band, just
Yeah,
because the
amazing.
music sounds really good live. This era of music, I don't know anything about. I was listening to totally different music at this time in my life, and like the guitarist in Zepparella, like she could sing all of the like 80s like hair metal kind of stuff, because it's so guitar driven, right? And for me, like at this time, it's like I just don't know this music. Like, so when I listen to it, I'm like, oh, that sounds like the songs, like those songs that I never really listened to, that it just never resonated with me. I think the lyrics are really like annoying to me. They're all like, come on, baby, let's get it on. And I'm just like, all right, dude, like, can you write about anything else? Like the last song, I think, is about like, okay, like trying to like uplift people and stuff. And I'm like, okay, there's a lyric that like at least is just not like, come on, 17-year-old, like let's get it on kind of thing. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not it. I don't feel like it's fair for me to even speak to this, because I just don't. I've never listened to this era of music, of hard rock. Yeah.
So to me, people compared them to Zeppelin. I thought they sounded more like T-Rex personally than Zeppelin. But I get the comparison. Also, I'll point out that the drummer of Kingdom Come eventually ended up being the drummer for the Scorpions. So
that makes sense, because that sounds like, I mean, it's like very of that era. I feel like of this era, it was really like, every band had to have like the killer guitar, right? And like it was the guitar era, and all of those guitarists, like they really went on to like kind of become have these really great solo careers, and then many of the drummers as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was the singers a lot of the time that were like this wild card that that ended up
Yeah.
being
The crazy thing
troublesome.
about it on Monsters of Rock tour, uh, Kingdom Come was actually handpicked by Eddie and Alex to be the
Hmm.
opening band. The rest of
Hmm.
the bands were put together by the label, the Scorpions and whatnot. But Kingdom Come was handpicked by Eddie and that.
Hmm.
So I don't know if Eddie felt sorry for him or Eddie just liked them personally, but it says a lot when you're being slammed in the media from all sides, and then Eddie Van Halen kind of says, "Well, we're doing this massive American tour," and it was massive.
Well, I could see that because I mean the redeeming thing about this band to me was some of the guitar. I mean, I thought the guitar in different places, I think, could be interesting. Yeah, I think really my nails on the chalkboard thing is really about the vocal, I think. Yeah.
Uh, it, uh, oh, here you go, CJ. Here you go. I actually fucking love this band. Like I don't get the fucking hate. I get it. This guy sounds like someone put Robert Plant in a fucking cloning machine and cloned him, but cause like Get It On. Like, oh my god.
Yeah,
That whole
that's
song, he
direct.
sounds like Plant. He sounds like
But
fucking Plant.
everything else about that song is a direct T-Rex ripoff. If you ever heard the song "Bang a Gong,"
Yeah.
it's literally a direct ripoff of "Bang a Gong." Like it's
Bang a
so
gong.
blatant. Yeah,
Get it on. Yeah.
it's so blatant that the fact that Mark Bolan's estate never sued them over that was just like, but I mean,
But
it's
I mean,
cool.
I love this band. I mean, yeah, 80s metal, 70s metal, hair metal was all about, it was all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They lived by those three mottos, and that's what they went by. And I got no problem with that. I fucking can love that all day. It gets tired eventually, and I eventually want to put something else on. But for my first time hearing this band, like I knew, CJ kind of gave me like a little preview of like what they wore, and like I read their Spotify bio before I actually listened to them, and I was like, I was hesitant at first because like after doing seven parts of fucking.
That was the other thing. After doing that bracket, I was curious what you would think of it because
after hearing 235 Led Zeppelin songs live and live and album versions, multiples of the same live over and over again. I mean, but it almost sounds to me like Zeppelin in a new era. Like it sounds like Zeppelin out of the 60s, 70s into the 80s. And I'm down for that. I mean, I honestly would love to hear what Robert Plant has to say about them. That's what I want to hear because I mean, I mean, he's still alive. Why hasn't he? Has he ever said his opinion on this band? Like that.
He's commented multiple times. Like Robert's kind of indifferent to him. Like Robert's like he sounds like me, but Robert made a point of saying at one point that trying to explain that sometimes people just sing the way they sing. And it's not intentional of them trying to copy someone, but sometimes you just sound like other people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you sound like Dio. Sometimes you sound like David Coverdale. Sometimes you sound like AC/DC. It's just the tone of your voice. Sometimes you're trained to do it. Sometimes you do it naturally. Lenny was not a trained singer. So Lenny was just singing what he grew up with and heard. So he wasn't trying to copy Robert. He just
it's natural. You could tell it's 100% fucking natural because he's not trying to. Like, you don't hear him like going into it and out of it. Like it hits naturally when it hits.
And if you listen to the songs, Lenny has on some of the songs he has a much higher register.
Oh,
than Robert.
He can do the whole 80s hair metal like.
Yeah,
I can't even do the fucking screams like they can. I mean, if Andrew was here, he could do it perfectly. But
if you get into the later stuff, the more like mid 90s, 2000 stuff that they recorded, it's much more mellow. I wouldn't say mellow. It's more it's more in that vein of there's a lot of piano in it. There's a lot of it almost has a more Great White vibe than it does like a Zeppelin vibe.
Yeah, I mean,
so
but I could definitely hear Zeppelin in the songs to some degree, and I mean, I feel like they should be in your book of should have, would have, could have, but
they are absolutely going to be. They are one of those.
okay. There you go. As long as I feel like they need to get represented as something that they could have been amazing. I mean, they really could have been. I mean, I know grunge kind of killed them ever becoming big, but still, like they could have been huge.
That's the funny thing. Like even after the first record, they did a second record that kind of bombed, and then he just kept going. Like he at that point he started self-producing and self-releasing, and about every 3 or 4 years he would put something out, and he was just kind of having fun with it at that point. It made enough money off the first record that he could live comfortably, do his own thing, and they're German, so they don't have the whole, and the German market's different anyways.
Is this the first record that they did?
Yeah, this was their debut. And like I said, they got a lot of attention.
It was like it went gold, right?
Yeah, almost platinum. So they made a lot of money off this record, and after that, Lenny kind of just, I won't say he walked away, but he walked away from the mainstream thing and just kind of did his own thing.
Yeah,
and he retired, I think, about 3-4 years ago, from recording, but I think the two guitar players actually are still doing I think they took over the thing and they're still doing it. They're not recording new music, but they're still doing like the old stuff. And James, the drummer, he died. Sadly. I think he died of stomach cancer or something, but really good live band. They were, like I said, I didn't expect anything at all. When we went to Monsters of Rock, we knew the Scorpions were going to be there. We knew Van Halen was there. Dokken was there, and Metallica was the other band. So, we knew all of those bands were going to be awesome. Expected nothing from Kingdom Come, and they came out on stage, and they put 125% out there, man, and they were really good. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to listen to the records because this was way better than I expected. I'm not a Zeppelin fan. I'm a fan of Zeppelin's music. Plant singing after a while kind of nailed that a chalkboard to me. Now, oddly enough, Robert's current stuff, the stuff he's done with Alison Krauss and the bluegrass stuff, fucking love it. I think it's some of the best shit he's ever recorded. But the Zeppelin stuff, when he gets up into that high register, it's just like,
you don't like it. Yeah,
it's like nails out of chalkboard.
Right.
But music, songs like Cashmere and Black Dog and the Lemon Song, musically, if you could take his vocals away and just make them like instrumental songs, those are epic fucking songs. Like
Carousel, the most underrated Zeppelin song ever, and I wish Zepparella had a video of it.
I'm not taking anything away from Jimmy, John, and John, I guess, because it's John Paul Jones, John Bonham, and Jimmy Page. So I'm not taking nothing away from those three. And most, like I said, again, in one of them bands, I don't hate them. It's just Robert's playing. Robert's voice, I kind of have to do it in small doses. So
gotcha. I get it.
That's why he was on the fucking bracket for 14 weeks.
But I'm saying, like, you'll catch me listening to it on occasion in small doses. But when you hit me with a bracket and like 40 songs, I'm like, no, that's not happening, bro.
I had to listen to them
right up there with the Sonic Youth bracket. Like, that's not fucking happening, bro.
I did not make one of those for reasons. But I had to listen to fucking Moby Dick live 3 different versions over and over and over again. Oh,
That's the one with the big drum solo, right?
Even I haven't done that.
I love Zeppelin. Like, especially now, after hearing like a lot of their tracks I never heard before, I fucking love Zeppelin. But their live tracks leave so much to be desired. Oh my god! Like,
Look,
Yeah, there
Zeppelin
wasn't
is
a lot
another
of
one
great
of those
recording
bands.
at that time, so it's like it always sounds really bad, and
their
a lot of Zeppelin.
best lives were at the O2 Arena in 2007, and as my buddy Aaron says, or as he calls that, not Zeppelin,
Yeah,
because it's not Page. It's, I don't know. There's other members missing too. I'm pretty sure, but it's all fill-ins. But CJ, what were your top 5 for your album?
Living Out of Touch. I really like 17. Shout It Out. And then my 2 favorite actually are the slower songs. The Now Forever After and The Hideaway. Those are, again, a little bit more of a, I want to say more of a vibe, but a little bit more of a soft touch on those songs, a little bit more emotion and feel to them. A little bit more thought went into you could tell musically, the process, that a little bit more thought went into those ones. And those are the songs, if you listen to the later Kingdom Come songs, they're more like those songs than they are like the Get It On or the heavier songs. Lenny kind of went in that more introspective.
Thank you, because I was questioning today whether to actually listen to their other stuff, and you just sealed that for the big bad no.
So,
but
I know this is a weird thing to say, but on the later stuff, lyrically, he almost takes a Jimi Hendrix type of approach. It's very like vibey and esoteric and kind of random and abstract on a lot of the stuff that he does. Like I'm not going to say he sings about butterflies or UFOs, but it's much more free flowing, than it is. I think on the later songs, he didn't really sit down and write like structured lyrics so much as he just kind of. You can tell that on a few songs that he started just playing piano and was just kind of coming up with shit as he was playing, and some of it stuck, some of it didn't, and then he kind of pieced it together of what worked and what didn't into a song. But Lenny's really talented, and he's kind of one of them guys that he stays out of the limelight. He doesn't do interviews. He doesn't do videos. None of that. He's very low key.
They only
so there's not a lot of info about him.
I did notice they only had one music video for this whole album, and I wanted to.
He doesn't do videos. He doesn't do interviews. None of that, dude. Like, he's very, very private and low key.
Well,
he's very much in the he's very much in the David Gilmour vein of person. Like, he's very selective of who he communicates with, talks to, interviews, that kind of shit. So but
I can respect that to a degree. But Clementine, what were your top 5 for Kingdom Come?
I don't have a top 5 for them. I liked the last song. I liked Shout It Out. It was a little bit different, and it was catchy and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, the first 2 songs were okay. I don't know. It's just not right.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Nah,
I want it to be, but it's just not.
No, it's cool. Like, I fully expected either. I knew the reaction was going to be one or the other, because it always is with this band.
Well, and I was going to go on record as saying, like, I just didn't really. I had to look for the Zeppelin influence. I didn't really see it. I didn't really hear it. Like, but I'm like, my head is in Zeppelin a lot, because it's like I'm listening to it through a drum monitor a lot. So
people throw the Zeppelin comparison so easily. It's like with Greta Van Fleet. Oh, Zeppelin ripoff. Really? You hear Zeppelin? You hear Zeppelin and that Triumph?
Yeah. And a
because
lot of
when I
Zeppelin too, for me, it has to do with the sound of the recording. And this sounds like the 80s, and Zeppelin did not sound like the 80s. It sounded like the 70s.
yeah,
So the recording
when I hear
instruments
Greta
were
Van Fleet,
markedly different. The drums
yeah,
sound way different.
you know,
So that's why I can't really. I was like,
that's
this
cool.
doesn't sound like Zeppelin.
I was just curious
Yeah.
what you guys
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
for different reasons. I was curious what you guys were gonna think about it. Because one did the
Yeah.
bracket and one kind of makes a living sort of on the sound.
Yeah.
I should
So
I should have got fucking paid for that bracket. Trust me. But uh, I did have an honorable mention for
got
this
paid
album.
with our love and affection.
Tell people to listen to the fucking episodes, and I'll get my love and affection. But the honorable mention I had for this album was "Pushing Hard." That was a fun song. Now Forever After been number 5. That was a good, nice, slow ballady type song in a way. Number 4 is "What Love Can Be." That kind of reminded me of like a slower Crew or Scorpion song. So,
Mm-hmm.
my number 3 was the
That's the
Shuffle.
one song James Connick wrote.
My number 3 was the Shuffle because the Shuffle is a fucking fun ass song.
That's a great live song.
My number 2 was "Get It On" because it is an amazing song, and I could hear Plant's voice in it so fucking clearly, and it just like I love that I could though. Like it's not like I hate him for it. Like I fucking love that I could hear that, and I was like, oh damn, he should do Zeppelin covers just so we could hear what he sounds like with the Zeppelin covers. But my number 1 though, same as Clementine, was "Shout Out." I mean, I saw the title of the track first. I'm like, is this a Kiss cover? But I was honestly surprised when I heard that. I actually loved it as much as I did. Like it's a really good it was a good song. I can't lie. I mean, I enjoyed the whole album. I mean, the whole album was pretty enjoyable. I was skeptical at the beginning of what I was going to think of this band, but once again, CJ surprised me a little. So, shit, what can I say? So I like to be surprised with the music because I had to listen to so much of it for different reasons. So, it definitely made for a good choice. And I'm happy. I'm happy I know they exist. Will I ever go listen to their other stuff? Unlikely, but you never know. Things change in life. And CJ may bring another one on eventually, for all I know. So I have no faith.
I only brought this one because when you posted her bio and it said Zepparella, I was like, oh, we got to do Kingdom Come just to kind of get the reaction because most people's reaction is immediately like, and it's funny to watch him just like last week when soon as I mentioned it, what was his response immediately? Cole, you mean Kingdom Clone?
Yeah.
That's the reaction you get 97% of the time is those people who only know them for Get It On and being the Zeppelin clones or being labeled as the Zeppelin clone that have never,
Yeah, I mean it's definitely. I'm happy I heard it. That's all I can say. I'm happy I heard it.
Yeah, it's not something I listen to all the time. It's just
there's a bunch of their songs
I like to pull out just to kind of mess with people.
There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of their songs in my listen to Spotify now, so they'll pop up from time to time in my life. But I guess it's time to move on to the final album of the night, my album, which I mean, I'm continuing a trend I kind of did last week but it works this time because I saw the album that Hendrix's album came out. I saw the year Hendrix's album came out, and I was like, all right, what else came out that year? And we're doing a Motown bracket right now in our specials, so I've been in a Motown mood lately because it's my bracket choice, and I picked that Motown because I fucking love Motown. And last week I got to do the Four Tops because I have been discovering my deeper love for the Four Tops, and I happened to see one of the albums that came out in '67, I think it was this one, and it had one of my favorite tracks by this artist on the album. Only one track I knew even on this album, but it was it was my favorite track by this artist. So I was like, shit. I'm like, all right. And I almost brought there's a couple other choices I almost brought. I almost brought a couple there. Actually, I think who the fuck was it? I forget who I almost brought beside them. I had a couple albums like picked out, and I was like, which one am I gonna bring? And I ended up going with Smokey Robinson and the Miracles' "Make It Happen" album. Because I mean, it's Smokey Robinson. The guy has a voice like nobody you'll ever fucking meet, and it's just classic. So he influenced so many other musicians, including rock and metal musicians, to do what they do. He's a legend. He's a fucking legend. And I was like, oh, you know what? I never actually listened to a full album of this guy, so let's pick this one and see what happens. I'm gonna see how much I like this album, and I wasn't disappointed. I mean, kind of the same reaction I had with the Four Tops last week. It's like half the album I loved, half the album I was like, this is kind of boring. But half the album, more than half the album, maybe even I loved. Like it was the songs I loved, I freaking loved. So I wasn't disappointed with my choice, and I was like, shit, let's see what CJ thinks of this and see what the guest thinks of it. So fucking Smokey Robinson, people. I mean, he's a legend. He's a fucking legend, and he influenced so many. He was the first Motown star too. He was the first Motown star to sell 1 million copies of his album. So he set a precedent, and people ran with it for the next fucking 20 years in Motown, up to the Jackson 5, and even down to Boys to Men if you want to go that far. But yes, and they're in the Motown bracket. I don't, whether you agree or disagree, they're in there. So fuck it. Somebody else is in there too that people are like, they're Motown, and I was like, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Boys, he inspired a lot of people, so gotta pay homage to a legend. And it's about time one of his albums came on the show finally. So I gotta ask, Clementine, what did you think of Smokey Robinson?
Well, I'm a big fan of Motown. Actually, when I was first taking drum lessons, I played a lot of Motown to kind of get up to speed on a lot of like the really best and most basic beats that kind of translate into every genre. And Smokey's voice is amazing. I was reading about this album and that his future wife, was in this, I think. I don't know if they were yet married when they were recording some of these songs. And then I didn't know that Stevie Wonder, who was 16 at the time, helped write 3 of the songs. Can you believe that? I mean, he's like such a genius. I think he met Smokey when he was 11. Like one of the musicians brought him into the studio, and then he wrote 3 of the like helped write 3 of the songs, and they happen to be 3 of my favorites. So it's really amazing.
I'm not surprised. It's fucking Stevie. So I'm not who has like 5 or 6 songs in this last part of the Motown bracket this Saturday. God damn it. Like I love Stevie, but Jesus Christ, it's a lot of Stevie. But I'm not surprised. Did I see this coming? Just like Stevie? No. But it's yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But I'm happy you enjoyed it at least. see, that's the thing. Motown's always a safe bet. Everybody always fucking loves Motown usually. I get to come across someone that says I hate Motown. Or I mean, I know a few people who said like, "Oh, it's not my style of music." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because you're a metalhead. Unless it has a fucking string guitar, you're not gonna listen to it." But
I get it. CJ, I mean, some of it, like there's some little things that like there's some little introductions or some chord progressions where we associate it with being a little cheesy. There are a couple of those moments at the beginning where they're doing like the ooh-ahs and stuff where it's just kind of like, okay, that's just kind of like I don't know, we associate it as being like we've heard it a lot, I guess, is what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think that for the most part, like the meat of the songs is always really like it gives you something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Smokey. We also have heard him covered 1,000 times. I mean, the Temptations did a whole album, like the Temptations sing Smokey. Like they did a whole album like covering his song. So we've heard his songs 1,000 times. But CJ, and I'm pretty sure I already know where this is going to go. But what did you think of Smokey?
I'll repeat what I said last week. Grew up in the front seat of a truck. Dad's huge into Bob Seger, Boston, that kind of stuff. When he finally did get married, my stepmom, she was a massive Motown fan. So once I was at home, Motown played most of the day. We had, the For those of us that are old enough to remember them, we had the big, massive Zenith unit where the top flipped up and it had the record player and the 8-track and, so the silver tone speakers to it, which you didn't really know the name of the speaker company unless you pulled one of them things apart. But they were indestructible and they sounded so amazing. I steady diet of Smokey Robinson and the Four Tops and the
CJ, are you in Michigan?
Yeah, I grew up in the thumb of Michigan, but I live around like Ann Arbor, Jackson right now. So,
so you're required to listen to No Motown, right?
I mean, I don't. It was kind of thrust on me. Like I've been bounced around like a ping pong ball, and everywhere I've gone, it's been this sort of new genre of music, which is how I've come to acquire this knowledge of, most people have like, okay, you like this genre or this genre. I can talk to you about Motown or reggae or Japanese music, metal, punk, bluegrass, country, Americana, red dirt. My knowledge of music is 100 or more genres of just random shit that most people wouldn't even know where to begin. It's really not good for anything other than to do this. Yeah, I love Motown. I love doo-wop music. My love is more in the doo-wop style than Motown itself.
Yeah.
But a lot of that doo-wop is kind of what Motown was built at. The Four Tops and the Temptations that, songs like I Would Rain were more of almost like an a cappella doo-wop style than they were like a Motown type of thing. And sometimes cheesy is good. One of my favorite all-time songs, who but the bump and the bump the bump the bump. I mean, it's a nonsensical song, but it's just one of them songs, and when it comes on, I gotta turn that thing up, and I just gotta sing along because it's a silly song. Duke of Earl, da 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 da, get a job. I love those type of songs of, it's what made Sha Na Na so amazing. It's sort of nonsensical, but it was fun. It had that, I guess, timepiece to it.
Yep. And it extended past the era it was in, because I mean, fucking Kid Rock when they did with the ball to bang boogie, like he did. And like it's
music. You know what I'm saying? And it's timeless music. Like it doesn't age the same way as other stuff has aged. You listen to some 70s bands, it aged terribly. Motown, really, regardless of what it is, whether it was the Vandells, whether it was the Del Vikings, whether it was the Gladys Knight stuff, whether it was Dionne Warwick, it all just really kind of aged flawlessly. I mean, it was so well constructed, and it was done in a way that I don't want to call it independent, but at the time it was very independent spirited. Like there was no massive label or no massive budget for this. Berry Gordy was just kind of doing it. The whole label started because he wanted his sons to be able to have a music career, and nobody would take them serious. So Barry said, I'll do it myself, and built a goddamn empire, on that basis of, and as a fan of punk and the do-it-yourself ethic, Motown is one of the most punk rock things that ever exists, man. From the ground up, Motown was completely do-it-yourself. People talk about Oh, I have a home studio. Well, what was one of the original home studios? Motown. Like, go to Motown Museum. That was their fucking house. He built a goddamn studio in and then turned it into an empire, man. Like that was punk rock as hell for the 1950s and 60s, man. Nobody did that.
Exactly. Which I mean, which is why for this album alone, I mean, I never heard this album. I only heard one song on it, but I end up with 2 honorable mentions because it's fucking such a good album. I mean, my honorable mentions are "Dancing's All Right" and "It's a Good Feeling." Like they're both amazing fucking songs. They got great beats. They got great lyrics. My number 5, "Don't Think It's Me." That's the lyrics in that song have been phenomenally well done.
Yeah.
Same as number 4, "My Love Is Your Love." Simple lyrics, but you think about your wife, you think about your husband, you think about your partner, whoever they are. Like it just makes you. Everybody can relate. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
My number 3 was "The Love I Saw in You" was just a mirage. Who the fuck in the '60s writing shit like that? Nobody.
The lyrics in that one are really special. I really love the lyrics in that
That's
song.
one of the ones Stevie Wonder wrote, right?
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was one of the Stevie songs.
I don't think so.
Well,
I think
my number 2.
Oh, go ahead.
My number 2 might be one of the songs he wrote, I think, but my number 2 is "More Love," and I can't say enough about my number 1. My number 1 is one of the best songs of all time. Just the melody of it and everything else. "Tears of a Clown." Like the lyrics are
number 1, right? I mean,
it has to be. It's the reason I picked this album, and I mean, and what guy in this world can't relate to that fucking song? Like when I hold it together in public, but when I'm alone, I cry tears of a clown. Like it's just every guy can relate to that fucking lyrics. It's
I think every human can, because we all kind of wear a mask, right? And it's like holding up that mask that we show to the world can be really exhausting and lonely. Yeah, for a lot of people.
It can be, and I mean, I could go into a whole men's mental health thing here, but I don't feel the need to. But it's "Tears of a Clown" is just a phenomenal song for everybody can relate to, everybody. So, and it's so well put together. I mean, it's that like, and then when it breaks down with the fucking guitar, it's like, oh my god, like I could when that came up in the freaking Motown bracket in the last part, which I'm so pissed it didn't win that part, so pissed. My anger was full of fury 2 Saturdays ago, but y'all will feel my wrath for that one still. I promise you. But yeah, it just like it's one of the best songs ever, and my saying for Motown is the best Motown songs are the ones that make me dance like a white Uncle Phil, and that one will make me dance like a white Uncle Phil every day of the fucking week. And when it was on that playlist for that Motown part, we would get to the end and I would play it again like 10 times in a row because it's just such a short, beautiful song. But Clementine, what were your top 5 songs?
Well, that's definitely my number 1, right? I mean, it's a perfect song, I think. I really liked "After You Put Back the Pieces, I'll Still Have a Broken Heart." It's like that's pretty wonderful.
It was lyrically well done. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the Soulful Shack. I was like, actually, I kind of want to go there. Like he kind of sold me on like just that feeling of being in a small, like a little place where like really killer music is playing and stuff. I like that one. I like "My Love Is Your Love." I think that one's really lovely, and I liked "You Must Be Loved" too. Good love songs, and I like there are a lot of songs about like being betrayed too. I think he does, the betrayal song really good. That
He
one,
does, yeah.
yeah, the desert one was really a great one. So yeah, I was really happy that you picked this. It was really fun.
Oh, I was happy to get the Motown on my system because it ain't coming back after this week for a while. It's like I'll be Motown out after this Saturday. So, but Pneumonia Boy, what were your top 5 picks?
I didn't put these in any particular order. The 4 songs, I was kind of just writing them down as I heard them, and they caught my attention. Motown is one of them things. I love Motown, but it doesn't always catch my attention. Like some of it sounds very similar to other stuff, so it doesn't stand out. But then there's those occasional songs that obviously do stand out, and you're like, oh wait, that's a really great song, or something they sing, or something, or the hook or something will be like, why do fools? Frankie Lyman was somebody I fucking adore. Frankie Lyman. So sad he died so young. But I have Tears of a Clown, obviously. After You Pop Back to Pieces. The Love I Saw in You was just a mirage. And the one I really like on it is It's a Good Feeling. That's the song that is just kind of, got that boppy Motown vibe to it, and that's the one that it had that hook in it, and it was kind of like that's a Motown song right there. Like, if there was a signature Motown sound, that's it.
So, see, I would say it's Tears of a Clown. I mean, and
it's kind of the same vibe, really. I mean,
and I kind of wish it was on this album too, but I mean, Track of My Tears is another Smokey song that's just like right up there, and it's that Motown sound. Like, but which a little preview for those for this Saturday. That is the number 1 ranked song in the Motown bracket is Track of My Tears. So
that's a great one too.
But folks, we brought you your albums thrice, and I'm getting yelled at for not being back in with the baby soon enough. So we have our episode for tonight. We were very happy to welcome Clementine. She was a great guest, and we had a lot of fun talking to her about music. But Clementine, tell them where they can find you and Zepparella and everything you do.
Well, let's see. I am at clemthegreat.com, and everything that I do is there. Yep. And including Zepparella. So Zepparella is playing all around the United States all the time. So visit the website and check it out.
Next time you come out to the East Coast, I'll have to check you out. But
yes, definitely.
See, maybe get some backstage passes. But CJ, where can they find you?
Just type in Music God CJ Playing. You'll find everything. You'll find the website, all the random social medias, YouTube, all that. The reaction channel, book page will be up soon. We got the first book in the end stages, and hopefully be out by February or March. That'll be fun to see people's reactions to, the whole Van Wilder meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre that I wrote.
Wow.
So, if you're a fan of horror or authors like Christopher Moore, Lamb, like books like Lamb are what inspired me. And if you don't know that book, look it up. It's called Lamb. I can't do the whole title of the book. It's called Lamb, The Gospel According to Biff, Jesus' childhood friend. It's a freaking hilarious book. Anywho, yeah, just look up the name.
That's right, folks. Just like a bad case of herpes, you can find CJ everywhere. But you could check out both your musers. You can check out both your musers on Facebook as Squatchy Largefoot, on Twitter and the Gram is at Juggalo Bastard, and on YouTube as Maniacal Musings. The only place to see everything we ever done is on YouTube. So many videos, so little time. Go watch them all, please. But we will be back next week with our regularly scheduled episode, hopefully, if the guest gets back to me, because she's a returning guest, and I'm happy to have her back on. And come and see who gets to pick the Christmas theme bracket we're going to do. There's a few options. So we'll see. Metal, jazz, pop. I'm not sure which ones I get picked. I think there's a couple more options. I gotta look through the list again. I meant to today, but
I might have to sit in on the bracket just so I can be in the thing. Because
good. But all right, folks. Well, we will see you next week. Go check out Zepparella and Clementine, and
yes,
come back next time. Have a good one, everybody.